I'll start from something that you'll be able to relate to in your own peer groups. Assume for a moment that you're from the non-left and you have friends from the left. Will you cancel people merely because they are from the non-left? I think you would still say friendship is different and ideology is different. You'd still be okay with that. But by and large, on the left, what I've seen is if you don't subscribe to my circle or my viewpoint, you're out. Okay? इसी को फतवा कहते हैं. Now, let's go deeper. ये डायलॉग बाजी नहीं है, let's go deeper. मार्क्सिज्म और लेफ्टिज्म का एक कॉमन टेम्पलेट है, which is to say, if you're not with me, by definition, you're against me. That clearly shows ये विचारधाराओं की बात नहीं है, ये वहां से बेसिक सिद्धांतों की और मूल्यों की बात है, which effectively goes back to faith systems. So when someone says Marxism का किसी भी धर्म या नॉट धर्म, किसी रिलीजन से कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है, पढ़ो और निकलेगा. Which is why the template of the left and the Marxists is so Abrahamic in nature. The otherization is inbuilt, it is central to the worldview. The definition of the self starts with the definition of the other, with the exclusion of the other. And that is an immutable creed of that particular faith system. It is a non-negotiable principle. क्योंकि अगर वो ही नहीं रहा तो बचेगा क्या? Okay? So, as far as I am concerned, a civilization that believes in the concept of samanvay. I am the dark-skinned man from the south of India. Samanvay का अर्थ बता दो भाई कोई यहाँ से. What is the meaning of samanvay? Samanvay to me largely translates to building consensus. सबको जोड़ के आगे ले जाना. I am not hinting at सबका साथ सबका विश्वास. I am not. Okay? I am saying samanvay is central to our thinking pattern, which is to say, if you decide that we have to coexist and we have to live by each other, you have to make a few compromises, I have to make a few compromises. So let us see what are those lines that we draw between our respective thought processes. Which is why it has been possible for so many sampradayas and so many panths, regardless of their ethnicity, coming from either Central Asia or let's say all these places before the advent of Christianity and Islam, for them to come here in one way or the other, and even if they came as invaders, they would then assimilate and become part of this particular country. Think of Bharat as a vessel which has the propensity, it's literally an Akshay Patra, which has the propensity to accept and blend and make you part of this whole. The only example so far, or at least perhaps the two striking examples, is that जो यहाँ पे शरणार्थियों के तौर पे आए थे, which is Yahudi and Parsi, वो यहाँ पे घुल मिल गए. लेकिन जो अपने आप को, if you think of yourself as a conqueror, you will continue to behave like a conqueror. So if conquest is the goal and it is passed from one generation to another, no wonder you are where you are today, we are where we are today. Whereas everybody else seems to just blend and live, right? So Marxism is a secularized offshoot of a very clear process which has a very clear religious inspiration. No wonder it behaves this way. And therefore it constantly seeks war. It wants class war. It wants segregation. It wants to pit people against each other. So never be surprised when you find Marxists arraying themselves alongside others against the indigenous identity. It is the natural course of things. You should never be surprised. This is exactly how they have operated. I have dedicated a specific subsection of the book to this particular point as to why they're able to operate the same way. Marxism effectively says that they're anti-colonial. Read what Marx said. He clearly said that the material basis of and the let's say the production of knowledge, the Asiatic system must be completely destroyed. He said this of both Bharat and China. He said this over and over again. And colonialism, although I oppose it, has this incidental beneficial, let's say, outcome, which leads to destruction of the Asiatic ways of looking, Asiatic ways of thinking. So therefore I will support it. That was his position. You should simply, so the entire point is, you don't need to generate new arguments. This book is necessarily a darpan ki tum ye ho. That's what I want you guys to start doing in wherever you're talking about these issues. Arm yourself with facts. You can perhaps have a disagreement with, let's say, logic after a certain point of time. But the let's say the superstructure of logic will always crumble at the slightest hint of a pebble of fact. One fact is enough. So therefore, to answer your question, don't be surprised. And I say this bluntly, Marxism is fundamentally a cancer which has survived in this country, unfortunately. And it has destroyed enough lives, it has destroyed